4 minutes. Guys, if you're new to this, you really have to be patient, enjoy the process. In a real game, it's going to be like this. You're going to get to critical moments. You gotta be able to come up with the right continuation. You gotta do it in 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. You cannot spend 10, 15 minutes every single time. You're gonna run out of time, right? And this is to me more realistic than just solving puzzles, because most of my games, they don't really involve those fancy puzzles that we solve. They're good, but I think this is more realistic. And we're going to pretend as if we were playing this in our own games. So far, this is Queen's Gambit declined. If you're not familiar with these positions, well, you get a little bit more of general knowledge. But basically, after d5, you could continue in many different ways. But Goldco decided to just play the exchange variation. We had a very good video on it. There are like 3 different plans you could use in the middle game after the fact. But so far, pretty straightforward. Just e takes d5, bishop g5, bishop g5, bishop e7, nothing new, e3, castle, bishop d3, knight b to d7, and then here we had talked about different things we could do. One of the plans was knight g to e2. Now this knight g to e2 sometimes is followed by f3 and e4. Sometimes you could see even some kingside attack as well. So after knight g to e2, rook e8 I've seen in many games I've reviewed, but here b6 was played. And now, of course, give it some time. What would you play as the white pieces? I'm gonna give myself 3 minutes and we go from here. All right, so here, the natural move castling makes perfect sense. Queen c2, we've seen it before as well. Rook c1, we know that the rook belongs on c1. So any of those moves, if you thought of it, it should make sense. Now, in the game, the white pieces played knight to g3, and it makes perfect sense. It looks like the bishop is gonna go into the fianchetto, and the light squares on the king side are going to start getting weaker. So knight f5 would be really, really attractive. If they play bishop b7 right now, this has to be very nice for the white pieces. It's only move number 10, and it's already looking really, really good. So anyways, in the game, after knight g3, they played pawn to g6. And then right here, we have the first question. Is it here? Yeah, g6. And okay, so now we're given that position, and we're asked what should the white pieces play here, and then difficulty level they marked it as number 2, so it shouldn't be that difficult, but still we have to evaluate the position and come up with the candidate moves and everything else. So white to move, let me give it back. Let me actually change this to 4 minutes, guys, and run it. All right, guys, this one, I think it has to be... I don't know why you want to play knight h5. Look, we've talked about this before. They have bishop, knight, rook close by to defend. And it shouldn't be that difficult for them to regroup. So don't get ahead of yourself. I think if I were playing this, I would just go queen c2, castle. But now that I was asked to, okay, take a moment, look for the best continuation, I'm paying attention to black's last move, pawn to g6. And we studied this on lesson number, I want to say 60, 61. This pawn structure, we are supposed to make contact on h5. So the move pawn to h4 makes perfect sense. h4, I have my bishop looking at the king side. My knight on g3 supports the h5 push. My queen is there as well. So this has to be the move. h4 with the idea of playing h5. Yep, h5, dímelo. e4, no, e4 cannot be it. It cannot be it. On many other things, we keep the isolated queen pawn, and my king is still in the center. I don't know. So yeah, h4 with the idea of playing h5. All right, let's give it a try. It has to be that. It has to be that. And notice how it all began with this b6, right? So b6, it looks like the bishop is going to be leaving this diagonal, so we bring the knight over. g6, so that we don't get to f5, but now they give us that hook with h4, h5. So g6. Okay, so here, remember, in this book, first his student replies and then he gives his opinion, right? So his student is saying, I would play h4 because the knight on g3, queen on d1, and rook on h1 support it and support the advance, and we're going to have a powerful kingside attack. And then, of course, Goldco is saying, very good, that's correct. White has the chance to attack and has to try and use the opportunity. All right, so we got h4. Then black pieces played pawn to c5. Don't forget, if you're being attacked on the flank, you should be trying to attack the center, open up the center. So he's giving here also that in one of his games, his opponent played pawn to h5, then queen to c2, trying to sacrifice on g7. And notice how from move number 10, we're already putting pressure on the king side. Then king goes to g7. And then, guys, what would you play here as the white pieces? What would you play as the white pieces? And again, I'm going to give yourself 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Guys, if you're new to this, you really have to be patient. Enjoy the process. In a real game, it's going to be like this. You're going to get to critical moments. You got to be able to come up with the right continuation. You got to do it in 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. You cannot spend 10, 15 minutes every single time. You're going to run out of time, right? And this is, to me, more realistic than just solving puzzles, because most of my games, they don't really involve those fancy puzzles that we solve. They're good, but I think this is more realistic. All right, let's go. Haha, okay. Sorry, that was not the move, guys. Sorry, that was not the move. This is the difference. He did a move that seems so, it doesn't seem natural, and it's very logical. The move that he played is knight g to e2. Just move the knight out of the way, reroute it to f4. You're ready to play f3, g4. Guys, simple stuff that we know, but I tell you often, and you're gonna read it on this book if you ever read it. Every principle in chess is flexible. We're told to not move the same piece twice. We're told not to go back, things like that. And here it only makes sense. Move the knight out of the way. That way you can play f3, g4. You can go knight f4. So he's giving this move knight g to e2 as exclam, followed by knight f4. And then we definitely have a powerful attack on that king. Now, and then he says it almost didn't work. In his game, his opponent played rook e8 to bring the knight over and defend. Then knight f4, knight f8. Okay, and then he lost the d5 pawn. So bishop takes, and knight takes d5. So thanks to this maneuver, putting pressure, they're forced to go to f8 because we're hitting g6. And then they drop the pawn. So he's saying after that, eventually the black pieces lost the game. So again, look at this knight, how it is not really doing much. On g3, it's actually interfering. So he moved it out of the way. And then after knight f4, we're threatening to sacrifice on g6. They defended. Fine, give me the pawn. Simple stuff. Well, maybe not now, but the more you see these ideas, the easier they will come to you. This is, guys, general knowledge. As you can see, it's not like when we do puzzles that, oh, you got it correct, go to the next one. Here you can see the transition from opening to middle game and how he actually thinks during the games. So anyways, after h4, instead of h5, we got c5. Again, very logical. I'm being attacked on the flanks. Let me expose the center. That's the rule. So after c5, we got the very natural move, queen to c2. So you see, this is not critical, just logical move. And then there's one question here, which is, when does it make sense to trade on c5, right? So sometimes we play queen c2, sometimes we take first, How do we know when we have to take on c5 and when not to? And he's giving something that we already know, but it's good to reinforce it. And then Gulko is saying, here I have started an attack on the flank, and therefore I need a stable center. So never forget that. You're attacking on the flanks, you need to keep the center stable, locked, that way they cannot attack you. So the last thing you want is to open up that center. So Queen C2 was played, Rook E8. Now one of the moves that you guys played, which is castle into the queen side. My king is safe out of the center, and this rook could come over and defend. We never know. C4, and then bishop to E2. Now, from this moment on, anything you do has to be energetic. If you take a moment, this is not a quiet game where you could remaneuver. No. One little waste of a move and you're gonna get in trouble. So after bishop E2, we got pawn to A6, trying to play B5 and B4. Then bishop F3, improving the bishop B7. And now finally we got pawn to H5. Now they're giving here the alternative. Let me actually make sure that we're on the same page. Yeah, so after H5, the black pieces played knight E4, but they could also have played pawn to B5 right away. Then H takes G6, H takes G6, of course, rook H6, king G7. And now there is a combination. So there we go. If they had played this line, they didn't play it, but if they had, there was a combination at this point. Now, guys, these super strong players, they are considering everything. And he had considered this position, and he saw a tactic that there is here. So we got, it's level 4. So let me give ourselves 5 minutes, not 4. And time is ticking. Whenever I see them too long, when they're too long, then I cut them. I don't think I do it systematically or anything like that. Okay, knight f5 comes to mind. Yeah, now that I look at it, it makes perfect sense. And we have to look at knight f5, we have to look at knight h5, we have to look at rook h7, rook g6, queen g6, rook d2 h1. Cha 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 cha. All right, I think I got it. So we got knight f5. 1 minute, guys. 1 more minute. All right, so far I've seen only knight f5. Now the problem with knight f5 is that what to do after they take, right? And I'll go back to what I said earlier. When you attack, one of the main metrics is the ratio attackers defenders. After knight f5 pawn takes, even if you bring the queen over, you're going to have 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking. They have 3 pieces on the king side. They could go rook h8 at some point. I don't know. I'm not so happy about that. Now look at what I found. I mentioned the main candidate moves: knight f5, knight h5, bishop takes, rook h7, rook g6. All of these moves, even for a second, I need to consider them. Now I'm thinking, what if I go knight h5, right? If they take with the pawn, this is looking good. The problem is this knight. And if I eliminate the knight, they could replace it with another knight. So that's not going to do anything. So instead, I'm thinking, how else can I get rid of the knight? Well, I have 2 attackers on that pawn, and they have 2 defenders. So if I go knight d5, this knight has to leave. They could take with the bishop, but then I take back. So I'm up a pawn unless you take me. So that's a free pawn unless the knight leaves. If the knight leaves, now and only now, I'm going to go knight h5. Now, when I was calculating this, you're not going to believe me, but I'm like, what if they just go down? So I was not concerned about this because we have queen h7 followed by queen h8. Also, knight f5, no, that's it. They have to move or take. Now, if they take here, this is checkmate. I just didn't realize it because the knight is covering g7. So knight d5. Knight d5 or bishop takes first, doesn't matter. When the knight leaves, check. If you go here instead, we got rook g6. Check. pawn takes, queen g6, and then queen g7. That looks pretty promising. If after rook g6, the king hides, they don't want the queen to come in, bishop h6. If rook g6, king goes to the side, then rook h6 followed by queen h7. Now, guys, try to visualize that at least. Knight takes d5, bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, knight h5 check, g takes h5, queen h7, king has to go to f8, queen h8. If instead of taking on h5, they go back to g8, rook g6, pawn takes, and queen g7. If instead of taking they go to f8, then rook h8 is checkmate. Very good. The thing with bishop g4 is I don't think they're forced to take it, right? And by the way, maybe I'm missing something. It's typically the case. Yeah, I don't think they have to take it. What if I just go b4, right? And that's the main difference. Knight d5, you have to respond to it. Or I got a free pawn. Knight h5 after, you also have to respond to it. So I think that's the main difference. Now let me see. Yeah, that's the move. It's knight d5. And after knight d5, don't forget if bishop takes first, we just take it. Then knight h5. If pawn takes, queen h7, queen h8. If king g8, then rook g6. And that's the end of it. That's it. So, of course, in the game, yeah, exactly. Maybe it still gives you a good position, but maybe it's just too slow, right? And again, guys, opposite side castling attacks, we need to be as forcing, as energetic as possible. So anyways, in the game, they never played b5, they played knight e4. So now they say here, let me see. Okay, after knight e4, find the best way for white. Difficulty level 5. Come on, man. All right, so let me give ourselves 5 minutes. We got that already. Timer is running. So in the actual game, instead of b5, they played knight e4. What's the best continuation? Almost 2 minutes. I already have a variation that I'm happy with, but he said level 5, so it shouldn't be it. Like, I'm thinking, take that knight, take that knight, then take on e7. I think I'm winning a pawn over here at some point, or at the very least, I got myself a protected pass pawn, right? So cha-cha, cha-cha, I could open up. I'm happy with this line, but there has to be something more. Yeah, let me calculate that a little bit more. Yeah, I have that bishop takes e4. I'm happy with it. But I'm pretty sure it's something with h takes g6. Otherwise, it wouldn't be level 5, right? True, I like this line. I looked into that one, but then I couldn't calculate. H takes g6, knight g5, pawn takes, king takes, rook h7, knight g7, queen rook h7, knight h7, queen h7. My queen is over here, your king is right here. If they go down, I wasn't sure what to do. If they go up, even less. I figured they could just leave. And also, I didn't have time to calculate bishop g5. Okay, let's calculate this. Guys, if you're struggling with this, this is what's gonna make you better. Even if you cannot follow it, you're getting exposure to new patterns, but this is how it goes in a real game. Let's take a look at h takes g6. No. Hey, I like this one. I like this one a lot. So let me see. H takes g6. H takes pawn. If you go knight g5, I take on f7. Now, this is a fork. If you let me get the rook, my sacrifice is justified because I get the rook. So you gotta take. My rook takes on h7. If they don't take me, I'm assuming they're gonna take me, but if they don't take me, what could you do if you don't take me? If they go back here, we have queen g6. Yeah, this has to be good. There has to be something for us. So after hg6, knight g5, we take, they take. Rook h7, knight g7, queen h7, king f8. How do I continue? How do I continue? Because this bishop is gone. All of this is gone, by the way, guys. All of this is gone. No. This bishop, that bishop is gone. Remember, hg6, they take on g5. And this is the realistic part of these exercises. This is how it goes in a real game, guys. No one is telling you it's guaranteed. It's not like, oh, there's a combination. No, you gotta calculate and consider everything. No. It's normal. How? I agree. No. Okay, let's be objective about this. I have my queen only down there. The king is cut off on f8. I need to bring more pieces. If I bring the knight, bishop f6. Hey, I think I got it. If they go king f8, my queen is over here, right? And their king is over here. We just bring the bishop to h5. How are you going to stop this checkmate? I don't think you can. I don't think we can. Now, you should be able to visualize that final position, guys. You have to visualize it. Even if it gets a little bit blurry, you have to visualize it. All right, so I'm going to be happy with that. We're going to check it after. H takes g6, knight g5. I take on f7, king takes. Rook h7, knight takes, queen h7. Now, what if the king goes to f6? What if the king goes to e6? If they go to e6, I have queen f5. So my queen is over here. King is over here, right? If they go to e6, I go queen f5. King goes over here. And then you run. God. Okay, I got the one if they go to e6. Now, what if they go to f6? Do I have the same thing? Queen h6. No. If you go queen h6, they could even bring the knight over. I wish I could do all of these without helping them incorporate defenders. Remember, ratio attackers, defenders. Whatever you do, try not to activate their pieces. All right, guys, so look at this. This is what I calculated. H takes, knight g5. I take, they take. So far, we've seen this already. Knight takes, queen takes. Now, if at that point, this king goes to e6, I have queen f5. King goes to d6, queen f4. Because I'm thinking, if they go to c7, that's it, they escape. So this is going to force them to go to e6 or to c6. With my queen on f4, if you go to e6, I got bishop g4. That's mate. If with my queen on f4, you go to c6, then bishop d5. And that's checkmate, right? Because don't forget, this knight left already. So my queen is over here, bishop takes. And that has to be checkmate. All right, so that's not bad. Now, what if the king goes to f6 instead? So h takes, knight g5, takes, king f6. Knight h5 is very attractive, but then they go to e6. Queen f5 is very attractive, but they go to g7. And this is, guys, where you have to go with your intuition sometimes. There's no way you can calculate all of this. Maybe a super strong player could do it, but typically it's not so easy to calculate everything. So you should be like, you know what? I think I have something there. That king is exposed. I have my pieces. Let me go for it. But it's so difficult to calculate everything. And we have not even considered if they just take with the bishop, right? At the end, guys, at the end, I think we're going to have time for that. Okay, I meant now king f6, queen h6, king f7, bishop h5. Ah, okay. Queen is over here. If you go up, queen h6, king f7. Okay, I like that. Bishop h5. You gotta go to g8. And then what? Queen g6. You gotta go to h8. And then we bring the rook over. That's it. Bishop h5. You go down, check. Once you get on the h file, it has to be winning. Oh yeah, a lot of the time. And you have to do it, guys. You have to do it. And it's difficult, especially for some players who have that, they want to have everything under control. You have to do it. And besides, even if you don't, you're going to get to a point where you're going to get stuck. For you to play certain opponents at a certain level, you need to just go with your intuition and go into territory where they haven't calculated either. And then anything could happen. If you try to play it safe all the time, you're going to get stuck at some point. You have to trust your intuition, trust these principles, and so on. So anyways, I'm not going to torture you anymore. So here, okay, so his student first is saying, I will play, okay, he's just like me. B takes e4, and then put pressure on the resulting e4 pawn. That's what I had. I would have played that anytime. But we were told there's something tricky here, 5 level difficulty, 5 in the difficulty level scale, so it has to be tough. Okay, so here Gulko is saying, it is a very important moment, and in the case of bishop e4, d takes e4, bishop e7. Okay, let me go back. Yeah, so we have to play bishop e7 because if we play bishop e4, then g5, right? So since that's the case, we gotta take on e7. He's saying queen e7, h takes g6, h takes g6, and then black can defend against the attack. If we do something like rook h3, they have time to just bring the rook over. And even if you collect this pawn, he's saying there is compensation for that pawn that they dropped, right? They have the powerful bishop, so it is not so concrete. And this is why many of our games, we get a little edge, like a pawn, and then it ends up being a draw. It's just not enough, right? So just because of that, he was not happy with the simple bishop e4, bishop e7, and then put pressure on the pawn. So instead, he's giving h takes g6, exclam, and then the black pieces simply took back. Now, he's giving all of these calculations, so let's go over it. If knight g5, we got g takes f7, king takes f7, rook h7, knight h7, queen h7, king e6. Yeah, it's just like we calculated. Okay, very proud of this. But then he's not giving, maybe something silly. He's not giving king f6 or king f8. So let me just go here. Okay, if king f8, computer says, yeah, bishop h5. So we were right about that one. If king f6, computer is giving bishop d5. Gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me, computer. If they take, haha, this is nice. Knight c to e4, bishop takes, knight takes, king e6, d5, and then f4. Now, this is what I'm telling you guys. There's no way we're gonna calculate all of this until the end. But you know, your intuition is gonna tell you, if you calculate this far, your intuition is going to tell you, come on, that king is naked out there. I have my queen, bishop, knight, the other knight, the rook. There has to be something. And you know, maybe out of 10 games that you play like this, trusting your intuition, maybe you miss 2 and you get in trouble, or 3. But the other ones, you're going to get it. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at this kind of play. And that's how you become a stronger attacking player. So that's it. That's it. I cannot play 94 because they eliminate both pawns. So we get rid of the pawn, one of the defenders over e4. And that's checkmate. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. Now, there was one line we did not calculate, which is bishop g5. If bishop g5, we got the same thing. Then rook h7, king g8, knight takes e4. Don't you even dare take. Then queen c4. I didn't even realize we could take this. We could take this after. King h7, queen f7, and then rook h1. Even if you block, knight f5. Yeah, so we had to calculate this. Did he calculate everything, or did he follow his intuition? Maybe a little bit of both. But yeah, guys, it's tough, and this is how we improve. This is how we improve. So I think that's one of the most difficult things in chess. Knowing when to calculate, when to trust your intuition. But again, it all comes from experience. So h takes g6, h takes g6. We got bishop takes e4, d takes e4, and now bishop f4. So basically he's saying how important it is to keep this bishop. Once more, in the other variation, we just oversimplify the position. There's no, that again, the ratio, attackers, defenders, we need the bishop to help us. So after we play h takes g6, h takes g6, bishop takes, pawn takes, now we could keep the bishop. g5 is not as powerful anymore. If they go g5, we have bishop e5, threatening mate. If they had taken here, we open up the file, and f6, it just cannot be right. It just cannot be right. The same thing. I'm not calculating. Intuition is telling me it just cannot be right. Right? I wouldn't like to be black for a second here. So anyways, after d takes e4, bishop f4, exclam. And then here we see the difference between, that h takes g6 made. Now we're not afraid of pawn to g5. So after bishop f4, we have rook c8, knight g takes e4, knight f8, and now guys, what would you play next as the white pieces? I'm gonna go back, give ourselves not 5 minutes this time, but more like 3 minutes. Here we go. All right, 50 seconds, guys. 50 seconds. So I see rook h6 to double up the rooks. Did someone say sacrifice something? Okay, so we got rook c8, knight g e4, knight f8. Okay, and then the move was actually pawn to g4. Idea, okay. Idea is to play g5, followed by bishop e5. Now they do not have f6. See, simple, just making progress on the side that you are attacking. So g4 was played, black pieces play g5 themselves, that way you cannot play g5. Perfect, then bishop e5, f6, and now difficulty level 4, find the best way to continue the attack. This time we give ourselves 5 minutes. Absolutely. All right, guys, by now you should be getting a little bit tired. The same thing is going to happen in a real game. This is move number what? Let me see. Yeah, this is move number 22 that we are about to play. We've calculated a lot, tricky game, and this is something else. If you like to play with this style, you have to be ready for this. It takes up a lot of energy. It's not the same when you play a solid, quiet, boring game. than when you have to be calculating, being accurate, and so on. So anyways, we got 4 more minutes. If knight g5, what if they do f takes g5? Oh, you know what? If knight g5, what if I go... I'm assuming you guys are considering bishop h1. You know, there's one move that I don't think is the move, but if I were playing this in a blitz game, I would really consider f4. Just open everything up. I have not even calculated, but I open everything up. My queen could transfer over to the h file. Exactly. My candidate moves are bishop g3, just going back. I expose your king a little bit more. I just go back to g3. I like f4. I think I'm getting tired. I don't want to calculate it. And then I got knight g5, but f takes e5. All right, I'm going to go with bishop g3, guys. That's going to be... We got 10 seconds left. I'm just going to go bishop e3. It just doesn't feel like the move. Like, this is a sharp position. I need something more energetic. But I'll go with bishop g3. Now, knight g5, bishop h1. And after taking your bishop, I don't see anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If we could just get rid of it, right? All right, guys, so we got... So his student replies to this question, and he says he considered knight g5, bishop takes, rook takes, and then if f takes g5, so this is what he calculated. Queen f5. Okay, he's saying queen f5 is mate. It's not mate. And then Gulko comes in. He says the variation you considered is not the move. Queen f5 is not mate. Yeah, knight on g5 is hanging. Yeah, so basically we gotta play energetically. So this doesn't work, but we gotta play energetically since b5 before is coming, right? So knight g5 just doesn't work. So he's giving... Okay, now I regret I didn't spend time. He actually played pawn f4. Pawn f4, just opening everything up, queen coming over. Now, let me go back, see if the computer recommends that. That's it. You see, at this point in the game, I'm getting tired and I didn't want to calculate. I didn't play f4. Now, let me see what the computer says. Yeah, f4, f3 is the second best move. Main idea is to just bring the queen over. d5, look, you guys mentioned d5 is one of the top 3 moves. Now, what happens if bishop g3? It's 3.69 for white. Bishop g3 keeps it at 2.24. So this one is not so bad, but definitely f4 is the most energetic way to go. That's it. That's it. Nice, nice. All right, so f4, we got bishop takes e4, knight takes e4, f takes e5. And now we got level 5 here. Only one question. What pawn capture? What capture is the right one on e5? Should we capture with the f pawn? Should we capture with the d pawn? Now 3 minutes for this. This one is so natural. Opening up with a tempo or taking with a tempo. F, I see, it makes sense. Then we got another file to put pressure on the king. Queen d3. If d takes e5, queen d3. Huh. Hey, that's actually pretty nice. If d takes e5, queen d3. I mean, I don't have to take. I could go queen queen h2 or queen g2, but that's a very nice move. You're hitting e3, you're hitting e4. Man. Okay, I think that's enough to just take with the f pawn. Okay, so student goes first. So he says, it seems to me that neither recapture dramatically alters the course of the game, right? And then Golko comes in and he says, you overlooked the same thing I overlooked. I thought the game was over after D takes E5, but in reality, the only move that keeps the advantage is F takes E5. F takes E5. Guys, the advantage here is 6 point, actually it changed to 7.01, right? Now, let me go back here. D takes E5 and the eval goes down to 0.28. So all of the advantage is gone. And man, the move is Queen D3. But you saw that on the spot. You saw it on the spot. Yeah, so he missed it. He missed Queen D3. So D takes E5 actually happened in the game. Mistake automatically. All of the great moves that he played. And then we blow it. We just blow it. So D takes E5. And Queen D3, man. Queen D3 was played. Now, Queen H2, I told you, we don't have to take, but this is definitely very, very nice. Queen E3. Now, imagine for a second, guys. Imagine you're the one playing this game, and you know that you're in control. You got this, and then you play this natural-looking move without really thinking, and your opponent plays Queen D3. Just imagine the feeling over the board. So, anyways, Queen E3 was played. Then Rook D2. Then we got level 5. What is Black's correct defense after Rook D2? So what should they play? And they're talking about defense. So let me put the timer back. Can't I just take that knight? What's so wrong with taking that knight? This is where we get in trouble. Queen takes rook. No. Don't get so fancy. Don't get so fancy. Okay, what's so wrong with taking that knight? Queen h8, king f7. Okay, so here we go. Student goes first. I feel like I'm just his student. I say the same thing. So he's saying queen takes e4 is the natural choice. And then black is up two pieces and the queen covers the h7 square. That's how I felt. Now Golko is coming in and he says, here black has many moves and it is very difficult to find the only way to escape. After queen e4, which is not what they played, I guess, white wins. What do you mean you win? With queen h8, king f7, and then f5, and then f5. You gotta be kidding me. The only way to escape, you gotta be kidding me. The only way to escape was queen f4. Queen h8, king f7, e6, knight e6, rook h7, king g6, rook h6. And guys, I'm not even making you do all of this in your head, because you must be as tired as I am. We've been here for over an hour. King f7, queen h7, knight g7, queen g6. I'm assuming you go back down to g8, rook h7, bishop f8, only defense, knight g5. Oof. So look at all of the moves that you have to pull off. Already low on time, probably already low on energy. Unbelievable. So after rook d2, this one fails. This is the only move. Black pieces played c3. And this is something else. When your opponent has been struggling to defend for the entire game, they're low on time, low on energy, they could pull a move like queen d3, but then at some point they're gonna mess it up. It takes too much energy to be accurate in these complicated positions. So c3 was played, clearly not the move. Then queen h8, king f7, And now we gotta find a win for white. They're giving it a they're giving it level 2 when it comes to difficulty. So let me put the timer back to 3 minutes. What's the win? F5 comes to mind because I already saw it in another variation, but now keep in mind they're about to get us in trouble, so it has to be something forcing. So F5 cannot be it. 96. Ah, nice. Now, what if 96 they go King E6? Pawn F5 is mate. I go to D7. Rook H7. Yeah, I'm looking into that one. We got 1 more minute, guys. Yeah, but then E6, Queen E5, King F7. What then? Maybe 96. Like I was thinking E6 and then F5. King takes and then F5. They gotta go back. Man. And look, it goes back down to the same ratio attackers, defenders. They have 3 defenders. We got 3 attackers. It's not so easy. Oh. Okay, Queen G8. Ah, that's mate, man. That's mate. E6 King takes, and that's that's a beautiful mate. It's not only a mate, it's a beautiful mate. Nice. And then if they take with the knight, we got Rook H7, knight blocks. Well, we could do the same thing now. No, wait. We gotta take here with the queen, and then Queen F7. That's the move. It's E6, Queen G8. It makes sense, but we had to see Queen G8, and I didn't see it. That's nice. That's nice. All right. E6. That's the move. King takes and then mate. That's how the game ended. That's how the game ended. Whew. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. Now, this is a game. I'm not going to do it with you guys, but this is a game that I would gladly go over it again and try to do it from memory. Try to remember the moves and calculate everything again. Because again, for me, it's mainly about calculating, practicing this, my ability to calculate, to visualize. And to me, there's no better way to do it like this. This is like if we were playing this game. Very, very nice. What a game. What a crazy game. By the way, guys, if you put their names on Google, you're going to find the game. So feel free to find it. I think Maya, she was women world champion for quite a while. We're talking about maybe the 80s. Let me see, when did they play this game? And she was known to be very tactical, strong tactical players, very strong defender as well. And this game was played in 1985. I don't know what you were doing back in 1985, but these guys played this very nice game. So there you have it.